Hi, Legion M. It's David Baxter, Vice President of Development, and I am here today with some incredibly super exciting news. We have become involved in a wonderful new project, which is called Mary's Monster, and it is a telling of how Mary Shelley actually conceived of and wrote Frankenstein, which is probably one of the most influential books of all time. It single-handedly created both the horror and science fiction genre in one fell swoop and has had an enduring impact on our world ever since. I'd like to introduce the amazing team that has put this together. And I'm going to start with Rose GANGUZZA, producer, and Max Bourne below her, I believe below her. To our left is our director, Farren Blackburn. And right in the middle is Heather Greenwood, our producer. And what I'm going to do is let each of you describe yourselves for just a moment. So to give everybody kind of a background on who everybody is. And then I'd like for us to talk about how this project came to be. Rose, you want to start us off?
Yeah. So about 10 years ago, I got a script that was meant to be a writer's sample from a young woman named Deborah Backstrom, who lives in Los Angeles. And she, it was called Mary Shelley. That was the name of the script. So I immediately read it because I'd always been fascinated with the summer of 1816, which I always called the haunted summer, and the writing of Frankenstein and who Mary Shelley was and the whole thing. And I read this and I asked the person who sent me the script, I said, oh my God, is this, has anybody gotten this script? I mean, is somebody going to do this? Because I want to do this story. Is it available? And they said yes. And then we optioned the script and flew to London. And the first person we met there was Farren Blackburn. And we met in a coffee shop. I remember that. And this wonderful young man came with the most amazing presentation I'd ever seen. And I thought, this is the person that has to do this. This is the director. But like all good projects, they have circuitous journeys. And this one took a long time. People got other gigs, and Farren, being the brilliant director he was, kept getting other things to do. And when you're young and you have to support a family and everything, you've got to take the jobs that are there right in front of you. But and over the years, we had different casts and we had different iterations of it. And then finally, about a year and a half ago, we said, look, you know, this is way too long a time. We've got to get this all back together. And we had met with the wonderful people at Fulwell 73. We decided we really, really did need to partner with a British and a respected British company, which of course Fulwell is. And we were lucky enough to meet Leo Pearlman and the wonderful Heather Greenwood, who have gotten us to finally be able to do this year. And then Comic-Con came around and we met up with David and with Paul Scanlon, and it just was a match made in heaven, because we always thought that this story needed a wide audience and that we wanted to make it in true classic horror mode, but also to expand on the IP and expand on who was Mary, who was her dark passenger, what was she thinking, what was she going through in her own life, and this young 18-year-old girl to have written probably the most important piece of fiction that's ever been written in the English language. Now we have this amazing cast put together and we're ready to go, and our wonderful Farren Blackburn is going to helm it, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
I would love for Farren to talk a little bit about why he essentially has attached himself for 10 years. That is unheard of for directors, in a sense. You know, why did it keep coming back to you? And what did you see in Mary's Monster that made you so passionate about doing this project?
The bottom line is I've always loved the concept. I mean, the thing about Mary's Monster is that it is in a way a retelling of Mary Shelley's story, but it's a high concept take on that story. So we've seen the biopic and that's been done, and that's great. But I wouldn't particularly be interested in treading that same ground. But what I love about this is it's a genre movie. It's a high concept take on Mary Shelley writing Frankenstein, her mental struggle that she went through writing Frankenstein, whereby the monster presents to her in a physical form as the manifestation of her own troubled psyche. So, you know, you say that out loud and just go, wow, you know, I would watch that in a blink of an eye, let alone, you know, jump on board to direct it. It's a film about female voice. It's a film about mental health. It's a film about media spotlight. It's about gender politics. And it's about a disenfranchised youth who just don't trust the government with their futures. I mean, it couldn't be more present.
Heather, how did this come to you, and how did you react?
When this landed on my desk, it couldn't be more Fulwell. It's about you. It's youth. It has something to say. I've been a huge fan of Mary Shelley, who isn't all my life. So then to be able to get this take that is now and is a contemporary view that's edgy and cool, and that's the thing, you know, they weren't stuffy poets. They were game changers. They were boundary pushers. They were adventurers. And there's nothing better than kind of putting a window on the past that actually reflects now. And I think we're going to do something really different, but is really authentic to what Mary was and what her colleagues and her friends and her lovers were. It is definitely a take that hasn't been seen before, and no film has been made like this that has looked at this woman or this girl, when you realize how old these guys were, and she outlived them all. That's the thing. She was writing novels when her male friends were writing ditties. So no offense to Byron fans, but it was an amazing time for them, pushing boundaries in a time that's reflective of now.
The thing, you know, that isn't on the page and that is in Mary's Monster is the monster and the exploration. You know, I'm not going to get into it deeply, but just to say, and maybe Farren could comment on this, is giving voice to that inner monster, to that character, is something that made this stand out from any biopic or anything, you know, that dealt with, you know, this subject. So that was a particularly interesting thing, and I can't wait to be able to, or all of us to be able to announce who the monster is, but
yeah,
you're just going to have to wait on that one.
The manifestation of the monster is key here, because we're now looking at a different type of monster. It's a, you know, in development with the physicality, but a new monster for the generation now. That isn't green with bolts and is a much more, I mean, Farren can expand on what that is in our approach.
Yeah, I mean, the monster literally is, I mean, he's inextricably linked to Mary's own emotional state. So whenever the monster appears, it's born out of, you know, an emotional situation that Mary finds herself in. So the monster represents her hopes, her desires, her fears, all these things. And that's the high concept element that I was talking about earlier. That's what sets this whole project aside from anything you've seen before. And that's the thing that excited me. I mean, I think, you know, as I said, this is very much a genre movie. And what I love about genre is it allows you to sort of hold a magnifying glass up to the kind of issues that we've been speaking about, and look at them and comment on them in the most imaginative way possible. And the idea of Mary's own sort of fragile and troubled psyche manifesting before her in a physical form is one of the most imaginative things I've ever read. So So, you know, we're going to be responsible with that, because it is about a sort of mental health struggle to an extent, but we're also going to have fun with that. So, so there really is, you know, there is, in my opinion, nothing out there quite like this.
You know, for Legion M, we have a platform called Impulse, where we reach out to our community and you know, do a sort of a short log line. And Mary's Monster was at the very top of it. So, you know, we always take our community's, you know, opinion into kind of the whole process, so that when we read this, we're just like, it was as if you guys had found the perfect film for Legion M.
We look forward to working with Legion M. We're so excited. I can't even tell you. We're going to show Hollywood how you should do these kind of movies.
I may have mentioned once or twice that I very much think Mary's Monster is a genre movie, and I can't think of a company better than Legion M to understand what a genre movie is all about. And also, movies are made for passionate fan bases. You know, a movie is nothing without a passionate fan base, and I just know that Legion M have got an army of fans out there who are waiting to devour a movie like this. So I'm so excited to be able to, you know, be a big part of bringing that to what I know is an incredibly passionate and committed audience.
I highly recommend, you know, to Legion M that you all reread Frankenstein. I think that after seeing Mary's Monster, you will see it in a new light.
Yeah.
I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to talk a little bit about this. We, you know, we don't want to give away anything special, except to say that the project is special, and we hope that you will join us on this journey. There's going to be a lot of exciting opportunity for the Legion to get involved. And, you know, thanks to Rose and Heather and Farren. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this. And you will see us all again very soon.
Very soon.